Imagine two people preparing dinner for an important date night. The first person is a noob and doesn't know how to cook, and the other person is a chef in a popular restaurant. The first person carefully follows the recipe, ensuring that they have all the ingredients beforehand and follows every step precisely. Meanwhile, the second person opens the fridge, sees what's available, and envisions a new dish, creatively mixing flavors and textures on the spot. When the time comes to eat, both meal turns out to be well, but the one is predictable and the other one is an unexpected delight. Now think about this in the context of your work or business. When do you want some tasks to be done in a step-by-step manner because you know exactly how it should be done? And when do you want some tasks to have an innovative and creative approach of problem solving because it is something new and unknown? My name is Vineet and today we are diving into the world of AI agents. What are they, what they are not, and how we can use them. I will be referring to some of the ideas discussed in this blog post by Anthropic called Building Effective Agents, and I'll also draw from my own experience of building a conversational AI platform for the past 10 years. Agents can be defined in several ways. Some customers define agents as fully autonomous systems that operate independently over extended periods, using various tools to accomplish complex tasks. Others use the term to describe more prescriptive implementation that follows predefined workflows. I like to define them as workflow agents or autonomous agents. Workflow agents are systems where LLMs and tools are orchestrated through predefined logical paths. On the other hand, an autonomous agent is like the other person, who uses ingredients at hand to create something new and still get the desired result. Now let's talk about some practical examples of business tasks that you would want to automate through these agents. So this first task is about creating a LinkedIn post based on a product update that you received internally in your team Slack. So on the left, you can see here, this is a message I got from one of our developers who has made an update on the product and they have shared the same on our internal team Slack, right? I want to turn this message into a LinkedIn post that I can post on from my own LinkedIn profile and possibly even post that thing automatically as well, right? Another example is to repurpose an existing blog post that I have written into different kinds of posts, mostly social media posts. So on the left side, you can see there's a blog post that we have written internally in our team. And I want to convert this blog post into a LinkedIn post that I can post into a Twitter thread that I want to post in a tweet from my Twitter profile or X profile. And I also want to convert them into infographics that I can share as slides on LinkedIn or somewhere else. I can even turn that into a YouTube script that I can make a video out of it. So these are two good examples of a task that I would want to automate. This third example that I want to talk about, which is about creating a whole marketing campaign plan for a given product or service. So this is a work or this is a task that my marketing head would go and actually think about how to do this for the next 3 months or next 6 months based on what we have built, what we are planning to build, what we are, who we are targeting, all those things. So it is a much more involved task, but the idea is that we want to create this marketing plan to get to a desired result, which could be reaching 1 million monthly active users in one year or 6 months. And the output of this task is to create this PDF document or a detailed document of marketing campaign plan, which can then be given to the team and they can execute it, and hopefully we get to the desired result. So these are 3 examples from the marketing world. I want to take a few more examples from engineering and product work. One of the examples of task automation is to do a code review for any changes that an engineer has made. So this is a very common task that everyone does it. Right now, they do it manually. Either some other engineer in the team can do it or I can do it. And we put out comments in the pull request to improve the code quality. Another good example is to generate a useful commit message based on the code changes made by an engineer. So this is also a very common task that you might want to automate. Apart from these 2 examples, I want to take a third example, which is to debug a production issue reported by a customer in the product. So this involves identifying the root cause of the issue by inspecting the system logs and production logs and trying several ways to fix the issue and possibly even making the code changes needed to fix the issue and then report back to the customer. So this task is a bit more involved. So it is not as simple as the other 2 examples, but it has a huge value and it is also a very common task that you might want to automate. Now let's talk about how we can make the agents that can automate these tasks. So for this task to convert a product update into a LinkedIn post, I have the following flow. This is a predefined workflow. So the very first step in this workflow is to fetch the messages from the Slack given a thread URL. The second step is to take the messages from that Slack thread and use a predefined prompt to call the LLM and convert it into an engaging LinkedIn post. And the third step is to show the results to the user to collect any feedback. And if they give any feedback, run the LLM again with this extra context. And finally, once they approve, we can actually post this on LinkedIn using the LinkedIn tool. Going to the other example, for this task to repurpose your blog post into different social media posts, the first step is to scrape the web page to get the content from that blog post. In the next step, we can actually call the LLMs and the other tools parallelly to create a LinkedIn post, to create a Twitter thread, and even to create infographic images at the same time. So these things are independent of each other, so we can call them parallelly. Once this is done, we can show this information again to the user, collect any feedback to improve further on the post that is made. And once everything is approved, we can actually use the LinkedIn tool, Twitter tool, and the Instagram tool to make those posts directly on those websites. Now, coming to the third example of creating a whole marketing plan from scratch, there is not going to be any predefined workflow for this because there is no one single way to do it. Although you can do it, but it will be very complicated and super long. So for this kind of task automation, you might want to use the power of autonomous agents, where you have given it a bunch of tools that it can use and it figures out how to build a marketing plan from scratch. So the benefit of this is that you don't have to create this workflow, which can be very tedious and can be very long and difficult exercise. So here for this autonomous AI agent, I have identified and given it access to these 4 tools. Again, these tools might not be enough, but these tools are researcher tool and user preference tool, product knowledge tool, and larger organization context tool. So this AI agent will use this tool to do research and get this information back to itself and decide the next steps by itself. So it is not following a predefined workflow path. Instead, it is figuring out the workflow on the fly by calling the tools and getting the feedback from the tool output and deciding on the fly. So it is almost like that creative chef who has access to these tools, who looks at these tools and figures out what it can do based on the goal it has, and comes up with a solution on the spot. So this is a very different approach, and I think that is where the excitement is, where you can achieve certain tasks by simply explaining or describing the goal to the agent, and you don't have to worry about how it should be done because that is something an AI agent will figure out by itself. So these autonomous AI agents can be very powerful because you don't have to build a predefined workflow in order to help them achieve the goal. But there can be challenges because there might be errors, there might be issues. These tools might not be enough for it to achieve the goal. So that's a caveat when it comes to working with autonomous AI agents. Now the question is when to use workflow agents and when to use autonomous agents. The answer is it depends, but here are some thumb rules. Find the simplest solution possible that does the task. Increase complexity only when needed. Workflow agents offer predictability and consistency in the task. So use it when your task is well defined, like the first 2 examples. Autonomous agents offer flexibility and adaptability. This is useful when the task is not well defined, like the third example. Knowing when to use which agent can make a huge difference in solving your problem in a reliable and scalable manner. Irrespective of what you use, one thing is very clear. Agents are very powerful ways to automate the business tasks that you're currently doing manually and spending a lot of time, money, and effort. In summary, a workflow agent is like a trusted recipe, ideal when tasks can be broken down into clear steps, and an autonomous agent is like a creative chef who can adapt to new challenges and craft something completely new. So what do you think? What are the tasks that you can think of that can be automated using workflow agents? And what are the tasks that can be automated using autonomous agents? Share your ideas for task automation in the comments below, and I will pick some of the good ideas and we'll try to make these agents using our no-code AI agent builder platform called TAS. If you enjoyed this video, please consider liking it. For more insights on building and using your own AI agents, consider subscribing to the channel, and I'll see you in the next one.